Going on? Good morning to you. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here. Good morning. Today is, let's see what day it is. It is Monday, February 10th.
to you.
We got
Can
a
I
little
get
bit of
a
echo.
roll tide
All right.
inside the comment box.
A
I
little bumpy
appreciate
start.
you guys being here.
All right, here we go. All right. Fam, what's up? I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on the show. Today is Monday, February 10th. A little bumpy takeoff there, but we're good to go. Appreciate you guys checking into the program this morning following the Super Bowl, right? I had to look up what Super Bowl it was, Super Bowl 59, and you have Jalen Hurts and several other former Alabama football players, now Super Bowl champs. We're going to talk about that on the show because watching Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl was absolutely fantastic. All right. This is the only green shirt I had. And I know I got some good feedback on the last time I wore the shirt. So I had to bring out the shirt again. It's the only, I don't have a lot of green. DeVonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, a couple other guys on Alabama. We're going to go through it and highlight Jalen Hurts, talk about DeVonta Smith, talk about Landon Dickerson. And one of the things that I really wanted to kind of emphasize in the beginning of the show is not only are these guys Super Bowl champs, but kind of from that mentality standpoint. I think that's been an interesting word as of late, talking about kind of the mentality. And look, like, this mentality that these guys learned when they were here at Alabama, it is still working in the NFL. You see what I'm saying? Like, these guys, whether they're SEC champs, national champs, now Super Bowl champs, the same psychological disposition has been able to be retained by these players at this highest level. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to also hit on the fact that Ryan Williams, he's not 17 anymore. He's now 18. I know that made a lot of people sad over the weekend to see the young man grow up. Keelan Russell was in New Orleans. Has some pictures of him posted up with some celebs. Talk about Alabama basketball. I would imagine that when the new top 25 drops today, that Alabama is ranked number 1, considering that Duke lost, considering that Auburn lost. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, but it kind of does matter. The reason it matters to me with Alabama basketball is like it continues to set a standard to the level of play where this Alabama basketball team is under Nate Oates as a basketball coach. Right? Oh, hey, by the way, all right, we got 86 on. I appreciate you guys being fan funders inside the comment box. I'm also now on Patreon. All right, so have a couple different elements on my Patreon page. It's pinned at the top of this chat. If you're a business owner out there, please hit me up looking for some show sponsors. So that's included on the Patreon page as well. So thank you for your continued support on this show. All right, Eagles 40, Chiefs 22. I think a lot of people were happy about the Super Bowl outcome. Thumbs up if you were happy that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Look, thumbs up for me. It was not only was I kind of like had Chief fatigue, I just didn't like the way that they continue to force down like Travis. I used to like Travis Kelce. What was interesting is that I didn't like they forced Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and that kind of like made us mad, right? When things are like pressed on us, we don't like that. And then like I don't really have a problem with Patty Mahomes. I don't know why I don't like the Chiefs. Maybe it's because they beat the 49ers last year. I don't know. Max. Yo, so check out the Patreon. It's pinned up at the top. But I was happy with the Eagles. But for me, being a 49ers fan, I was going for Alabama football players, right? And kind of watching, and where I'm going to start on the show today is talking about this man right here, the Super Bowl MVP. And let me build this up, and let's talk about Jalen Hurts and kind of dive into it, because where I want to tie this into is the mentality of these individuals that won a Super Bowl last night compared, at least in observation, to where the mentality is of the program right now. And when you kind of think about state of the program, I think mentality has to be included of that, right? Eric D's a fan of Taylor. All right. Sean, yo, that 46-yard touchdown, that bomb was beautiful. All right, so let's start right here. Jalen Hurts, 17 of 22 last night in the Super Bowl, 221 yards, 11 rushes for 72 yards, the most yards that a quarterback has ever rushed in the Super Bowl. 3 total touchdowns. The guy lost the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And I was listening to Jalen Hurts speak to the media after, and he said, look, when it's your time, it's your time. This guy has gone through so much adversity during his, the last 6 years of his career, and he's dealt with it as a grown man, as a grown person that has to deal with adversity. Because let's face it, stay with me here. Adversity comes at you in different shapes and forms during life. Especially not only when you play sports, just in general. And how you deal with that adversity tells me a lot about you as a person. It tells me a lot about the way that you were brought up. It tells me a lot about your competitive spirit as a person. And Jalen Hurts, the thing that I always talk about on my show, that's why I'm so happy that this dude won and was able to outduel Patty Mahomes, is the fact that this guy, when he was here at Alabama, he dealt with a ton of adversity. This guy came in and he wasn't the polished quarterback that he is right now. There's no way. This guy got benched, right? This guy got benched in the national title game, right? And you put in Tua. Tua goes in, wins the national title. There was never a time where we heard Jalen Hurts complain about that benching. Did it probably bother him inside? Yeah, but I think it also lit a fire. And the thing that I love most is that this guy never went to self-entitlement or, wasn't a part of the team. In fact, what he did was he stayed on the team, stayed available, and he came back. Honestly, let me ask you this inside the comment box, okay? If we were to have a movie, if Jalen Hurts was to have a movie produced about him, what would you title it? Because this was like watching a movie. I was at the national title game, right, when Tua won, the second and 26 to Smitty. And then I was at the SEC title game the year after when Jalen Hurts came in for an injured Tua Tagovailoa to win the SEC championship game. This guy was this is the team, right? And I get it. He transferred when it was time to transfer. And transfer portal windows are different now and all this stuff. But this guy was a team player and never complained and just kind of went back to, he never stopped believing in himself. But I think a big reason why is not only, number one, the way he was raised, but also the way that Coach Saban coached these guys is that mentality of being a team first player. Alex inside the comment box says, I'm that same kind of kid that went to the national title and lost and went back and got benched and had to transfer. Yeah, this is the quote from Jalen Hurts. The kid always kept the main thing, and that was always true. Jalen Hurts, 100%. Thanks for posting that, man, inside the comment box. Saying and Shane, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, think of a title for a Jalen Hurts movie. It's amazing, right? But I think a lot has to do with the mentality that Coach Saban gave to these guys. Because it's still working now at the highest level. These guys are still winning Super Bowls, right? Playing at the highest level. And how about this guy? And look, it's hard to give your favorite players when asked for Alabama football, but DeVonta Smith is one of my favorite players. I think he's my favorite, period. Yeah, Messiah's like Alabama won the Super Bowl last night. A story of perseverance. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Let's see if we could do the voiceover. All right, let's cut it. We'll go back to Jalen. All right, let's do this photo. All right. What if I told you that a man that was benched in the national title game didn't complain, didn't quit on his team, that a man kept team first? And when all the cards were stacked against him, when everybody thought he was going to transfer out, this young man stayed humble, stayed true. When he was drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, he had an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. He lost. He came back, and his story is now written. Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl 59 MVP. Oh man, I don't know. It's a damn good story, and I love the fact that you also have, like I was saying, Smitty. Well, winning hurts. That's it. Oh yes, Alex Wilder. Congratulations on naming our movie. Winning hurts. Oh, so DeVonta Smith. The thing about him, he's my favorite player because from a mentality standpoint, the dude doesn't like. He is all about business, work, and achieving what he wants to do. He's a perfect player that can like block out everything and just focus on the task at hand. Like, he is the guy that you want like your athlete to emulate. I love his sound bites too. He don't mess around. Like one time I remember this past season, they're like, yo, you dropped a pass. What happened? He's like, I dropped the damn ball. That's what happened. And when he caught that 46-yard touchdown pass, man, that made me so happy. So check this out. Well, a couple things, okay? And I saw this from Pro Football Updates on X, okay? Jalen Hurts, going back to him, joins Bart Starr and Joe Namath as Alabama players to be named Super Bowl MVP. Did you know that Bart Starr won Super Bowls 1 and 2, and then the following year was Joe Namath, right? I didn't know that. And then check this out about DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith, Heisman. He's a Heisman. He won a national title, a Super Bowl champ, okay? So he won the Heisman, national title, Super Bowl champ. Joining Reggie Bush, Charles Woodson, Tony Dorsett, and Marcus Allen. Like, those are all-time greats. Man, because if you go back and think about DeVonta Smith, this is a guy that could have left, right? He could have left with all those wide receivers, but he came back. And everybody was like, man, this dude is too small. Look at him. This dude will slice you up. They said he was too small. I always remember Coach Saban was asked about him. And they were asked about his size because I was doing some reading this morning on the pre-show. Did you know he declined to step on the scale at the Reese Senior Bowl? Slim Reaper. Oh my goodness. That was one of the best nicknames that we had. Who came up with that? Slim Reaper. Damn, that's his movie title. Okay, so we got Winning Hurts and we got the Slim Reaper. Okay, those are our two movies, okay? And it would be nice. We'll do a series on this. We'll just do like the Jalen Hurts story, and then we'll do the DeVonta Smith, and then we'll do part 3 on my next player I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I like Golden Gazelle. I don't know who came up with that one. Was it the coach on YouTube who came up with that? The Slim Reaper was just too fire. But Coach Saban was like, man, I never, all he has to do is catch a football. Forward by Kirby Smart. This guy would stay late after practice, would continue to outwork, outperform. I mean, winning the Heisman, honestly, this was the dopest. Oh, yes, it was the unofficial coaches who came up with that. Yes, that's who I thought it was. Man, oh, God. When that channel was blazing, whew. Oh, I love it. Yes, the Golden Gazelle. That's who came up with it, Mark. What's up, man? Yes, Ling Ling. The next player is Landon Dickerson. So start thinking about names for Landon Dickerson. Okay, but check this out. All right. Number one, this suit should be put in the College Football Hall of Fame. Remember this? The outfit that he wore yesterday, did you see this? He was in all red. Like, kind of not even like a crimson red, like a very bright red one piece. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. But I was feeling this right here. This was all like velvet. I guess like, what color is this? This was the dopest suit anybody's ever worn. And he comes back and he wins a Heisman Trophy. That was a hell of a year that he put together. And what was crazy is, remember in the title game, I'm pretty sure that he broke his thumb. And I remember a story reading, someone interviewed like Jeff Allen. And so they go into the medical tent. This is how mentally strong DeVonta Smith was. DeVonta Smith goes into the medical tent and they're like trying to get his thumb like back into place. Have you guys dislocated a finger? I've dislocated several. Okay, it isn't pleasant. I can't even imagine your thumb. He wanted to go back into play. Yo, a dislocation, if they can get it in right away, you're good to go. You need to make sure that they can get it. I dislocated a couple of them. It's not a fun experience. Good morning, Marcus. What's up, man? Okay, so my third player that I'm asking you about, what would be the story on Landon Dickerson? And who remembers Landon Dickerson here at Alabama? So the story on Landon Dickerson was he came in from Florida State. And at Florida State, he had like two. This guy is a warrior beyond anything, right? So it was pure dominance for sure. Jarvis, what's up, man? We're looking for you on I think on our Friday show. This guy was hurt. Man, this guy had so many injuries in college as well. But when he came to Alabama, thank goodness he was healthy for the majority of the part of his career. I think he might have been injured on the far back end of the season. I can't remember. But he is a person that is just straight country, super humble dude. And I think he's the best center that Alabama's had in a long time. I know you guys have different centers that you guys like, further out within the last like 15, 20 seasons or whatever. But Landon Dickerson was the best center, probably the best offensive lineman that I like to watch here at Alabama. I liked Evan Neal, but Landon Dickerson, like, I don't know, like it was, I kind of I'm tying all this back to the mentality that this guy had. This guy was a straight mauler. See, Jordan, I agree with you, man. What was it, Jordan, that you liked about him? I like kind of the nastiness, the kind of just like that hog mentality. He was just, I don't know, straight cunt. Like, how about Straight Country? Could that be the movie name? But this was the best part about Landon Dickerson. This dude, this is the truck. Remember this when you put the railroad tie? Aaron, what's up? Aaron Washington, good morning to you. Jeremy, what's up, man? Yes, okay, Jeremy. He went down to the SEC championship game against Florida. I appreciate it. Was that when that was the Smitty hit heard around the world, right? Or John Mechie, when John Mechie blew that dude. That was crazy. Okay, so remember this? He rolled up to the Reese Senior Bowl, and he had this is his bumper. It was a railroad tie bumper, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he raffled off this railroad tie for like charity. Oh man, look at this! Nobody has a bumper like this in the world except this truck. Oh man. I had forgotten about that to this morning. And then this guy gets a big contract. First thing he does is he goes and buys this riding lawnmower. So what I'm getting to this morning, if you're just joining the show, I appreciate you guys being here. Definitely drop a thumbs up on this video. I'm also on Patreon now, so hit the pin message. And so what I'm getting at this morning, as I look to, and I know there's several other players that were on the Eagles. I didn't even know. Did you know Cam Latu was on the roster? Inactive, but Cam Latu with the Eagles. So what I'm getting at this morning, and this is kind of what I'm tying everything to, is yes or no inside the comment box, and I think the answer is pretty easy. But do you think that this type of mentality that each of these players share collectively and that they had during their time in college still exists within this team, within this locker room right now? Because if you go one by one, Slim Reaper, Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, each of these guys had the highest level of competitive spirit, and most importantly, they were team first players. And I kind of wonder if NIL, is Cam Latu with the Chiefs? Oh, he's with KC? Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I was wondering about that. I saw it. But what I'm getting at is, like, it doesn't seem like this type of mentality exists right now, and probably doesn't exist for a lot of programs or organizations across college football. And I think it's because of NIL. I think NIL has made it more of a personalized me mentality in college football. But I don't know. Like, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. Maybe this team, like, you're starting to see leadership, like Rock Montgomery talking about different elements. But I think it's hard for these guys to get to this level because college football has changed so much from just NIL and the transfer portal. And I think that clearly those things changed the game so much that we lost the greatest all time in Coach Saban, right? Because these guys right here, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that Alabama football is trying to aim to this mentality, because this mentality is still working even in the NFL. Yeah, Ling Ling saying that Latu's an Eagle. Yeah, I thought he was an Eagle. Because I have a list of the players on the Eagles. But anyways, that's kind of what I was getting at. As I was watching the game, I was like, damn, man, this is Saban's philosophy is still it bled into these guys so much, plus just who these guys are in general, but it's kind of leading into more accolades at the highest level. Okay, Alex also backing up. Yeah, Latu. So look, I have this graphic real quick. Let me just look at it. I think it's somewhere in here. Here are the guys in total, okay? Jalen Hurts. These are the guys that I dug up that were Eagles. Now, the only guys that are active were Jalen Hurts, DeVonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, and Tyler Steen. I think the guys that are inactive are Camu, Byron Young, and Eli Ricks. So anyways, they all get Super Bowl rings, but I think those four are the only ones that were active, if that makes sense. What's up, Joe? I see you inside the comment box, bro. Joe is saying maybe, but some got that dog mindset, but not many. So, yeah, I mean, when I look to, like, these guys, and when you hear, like, the standard and, like, Bama's standard, you know, I think this is it. I think this is what the philosophy was, which each of these guys has. Ryan Williams isn't 17 anymore. I know. It's sad to see him grow up. I can't even imagine how much this dude is going to cook this coming year. And this is what I'm so excited about with Ryan Grubb. With Ryan Grubb coming in and Keelan Russell coming in, and you know, Ty Simpson now having opportunities, Austin Mack there as a dark horse, whatever, and the overall wide receiver room and whatever. I just feel that Ryan Williams is about to go to like other levels that we haven't seen him go before. Or even I think we're about to get close to the wide receivers that we had, like a DeVonta Smith, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, right, Jerry Jeudy. And it's hard to say, but I think these wide receivers are close to that if they can get opportunities. Like Ryan Williams, this guy is clearly different. We saw, and I get it, the backside of the season kind of was trending down for a lot of different players. We've already talked about kind of the how Milroe regressed during the later part of the season, but what this guy was able to do was completely like it just felt different. I think you as a viewer, me as a viewer, fans, we understood quickly that things were different with this dude. He made plays that were different. Like, and we've had some incredible talented wide receivers here at Alabama. I think, you look to wide receiver like I would say right now it's probably Ohio State. Ola, it's Murray. What's up, man? Yeah, this is the only green that I have. I got this at Dick's Sporting Goods, and it has this nice little USA patch on. It was on the sales rack. Chris is saying that Ryan Williams looks a little bit bigger. I haven't necessarily seen that, but I would imagine that once imagine like Ryan Williams, what is he, like 6'2"? Get him, even if he's like 6'1", a 190, he's going to retain that speed, be stronger. I don't know. The guy made a lot of different plays that was just completely different. Then you add in, the different wide receivers. So as he grows up, it's exciting, but no longer 17. And I think there was a little bit of frustration towards the back end of the season from Ryan Williams and Jalen Milroe. I think that connection kind of it wasn't what we wanted it to be or what he wanted it to be. You could see frustration from his eyes, I think, in that Michigan game. There was a couple of people who had clips of Ryan Williams kind of frustrated. Kind of ball was here, ball was there. Don't forget this guy's toughness, too. Yeah, and my last thing on Jalen Hurts. People saying that he's more Oklahoma than Bama. Look, I think he has his master's degree from Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts is Roll Tide. I think he does have a little bit of Oklahoma in him. He played for a season there, right? I think he developed as a quarterback there because they had people, that could develop him. But he's Alabama, 1,000,000%. Daniel Adams always messing with the bird. All right, man. Take it easy, Daniel. Thanks for being here. All right. You see this? Speaking of Ryan Williams, he also has a new NIL deal with Sally Hansen. I was talking about this with T, I don't know, like weeks ago. I was like, I'm so surprised that because of the prospect that he is and kind of the megaphone that he has as a prospect, that he's not getting like a beauty company to be able to send him like an NIL. So I don't even know what Sally Hansen is. I would imagine it's for nail polish. But since nail polish and Ryan Williams are like a thing, and he's explained that his sister is the one who paints his nails. And so this has been a thing. So like and whether you like this or not, this is the way that they wanted NIL to be, is like players getting paid based off their own image and personal branding. So I would imagine that on July 1st, when you have House versus NCAA, that would allow Alabama to pay its players, like the university, and then continue to go out and get additional NIL deals for these players. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But I think it's a beauty supply. I don't know what it is, but this is how NIL is supposed to work. So you look to some of the other deals that he has, right? He just inked a deal with, what was it? Was it Hollister, right? And now you have 18-year-old Ryan Williams. So good for him. I mean, the dude is earning. And that's what they want NIL to be. So these players are able to get paid for their own name, image, and likeness when they're here. All right, your next quarterback, or at least trying to be your next quarterback, is Keelan Russell, right? Keelan Russell went to the Big Easy. Did you see pictures of like Bourbon Street in New Orleans in the French Quarter during the Super Bowl? Oh, my goodness. Josh Pate tweeted out an image of like, I think it was Bourbon Street. It had to be Bourbon Street. And you couldn't even walk. And he said, he was like, remember, God tells us that hell is worse than this. Yo, I did something so stupid last year. T and I went on July 4th. This was a learning experience. You learn different things in your life, okay? In the month, like for the 4th of July, guess where we went? New Orleans. This was like what? It was the hottest place I had ever been. In fact, Efron went with the 50 spot. Wow, man. What's up, man? I appreciate it. Thank you, Efron. But I'm telling you, now that I have a little bit more life experience, don't you ever go to New Orleans in July. Everything was closed. There were signs that said, it's too damn hot here. Go somewhere else. But Keelan Russell posted up. This is Sam Darnold. So he was with a couple different celebrities. I think this guy coming in, there's so much to be excited about with him. There's so much hype. But I want fans to be patient with his development. Like, let's not rush this dude. Let's let him get in. Let's see how he can work with Ryan Grubb, work with Coach Kalen DeBoer. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback's coach. I would imagine it's going to be Ryan Grubb, right? Or Is it Nick Sheridan? What do you think Nick Sheridan's title's going to be? Yeah, Ephraim, what's up, man? I appreciate that. He's got the I would imagine that these chains down here go to like his, do they go to like his wallet? I don't know where they go to. And I think his chain up top says Prez, right? And he's tall. I think he's what, about 6'4" coming in? Tight ends coach, special assistant. I don't know what's Nick Sheridan's title going to be? I guess from what I gather from rapping with you guys for the last, 2 months on kind of, we've been talking about titles, and you guys said that titles don't matter. That's like the majority. I like my favorite title is when Butch Jones think about this guy has no pride, or this guy doesn't care. He just is a straight up coach, wants to just move forward. But like, remember when Butch Jones came? He was a special assistant to Coach Saban, and in fact, Coach Saban named him an intern. Do you remember this? Oh man, that was so funny. Oh, Jeremy, I got you covered, bro. All right, because I knew people were going to ask about this. All right, we'll go back to Alabama basketball in just a second. Let's see if I can get this full screen. So for those of you wondering, talking about staff, and those of you wondering about Scott Huff. Well, first of all, who is Scott Huff? So Scott Huff was a part of the Washington coaching staff, right, with Coach Kalen DeBoer and company, and he coached the offensive line. He went with Ryan Grubb to the Seahawks, right, this past year. He was also let go by the Seahawks. Alabama fans wanted to know if he would be brought to Tuscaloosa to coach Kalen DeBoer. He has been hired to coach the offensive line. Actually, he's been hired, as it says right here, to coach the tight ends, with the Rams. So he's staying in the NFL. So if anyone is wondering like about Scott Huff, he's with the Rams. So Kapilovic will be your offensive line coach. I'm not mad about that. I'm really not. I think Kapilovic did a really good job with Alabama's offensive line, considering that the players that he has. Before I get to Alabama basketball, I want to talk about this. Did you see this past weekend? This is Coach Kalen DeBoer's daughter, Alexis. All right. This is a crazy story. So women's softball. By the way, if you haven't been to a women's softball game here in Tuscaloosa, go out and do it. If you can somehow parlay to like see a softball game and a basketball game or a baseball game together, and you can double dip, go do it. They got Pop Stroke right across the street and bomb hours. All right, so check this out. Coach Kalen DeBoer's daughter, Alexis, plays at Washington. She never hit a home run before in her career in college, right? Against Alabama, she hits a bomb, right? I think this was a 2-run shot that she hit. Right? Alabama wins the game, but she comes out with a bomb. Later on in the afternoon, this was crazy though. She hit another home run in the second game. They had a game later in the day. She came back and hit another home run. So, and I think Coach Kalen DeBoer was at this game. So that's what's up. Credit to her. All right. This Alabama basketball team. Who watched the game on Saturday night against Arkansas? They were rolling. Arkansas kind of made a comeback there at the end. Nelson drops in 15. I think Mo Diabate, I think he had 14, right? No, I think Chris Youngblood had 15. Grant Nelson had 15, and I think Mo Diabate had 14. I would imagine whenever the rankings come out, maybe Alabama will be number 1. Right? It doesn't matter. I don't know. But look at this. Look at this schedule that they're about to run through right now. Alabama, I think they have right now the most difficult schedule that they've played overall in college basketball, right? Remember the front end of the schedule? They played some incredible teams. But with Duke losing to Clemson, I watched the end of that game. That was a really good game, right? Um, and then you have Auburn. They lost to Florida. Someone said that Auburn would still be number one. I don't know if it matters. But I would imagine that maybe Alabama gets the number one spot, which sets up a great matchup. If Alabama, takes care of business on Tuesday against Texas, you have the marquee matchup in all of the land coming to Tuscaloosa when they take on Auburn, which is on the 15th. But look at this gauntlet of a schedule that Nate Oates and crew are about to roll through. I said this on a video earlier. This is about, I think this stretch right here is more challenging than if you were to try to win the NCAA basketball tournament, right? And then you'd play and not only that is you start out playing a 1 seed and then you end the season playing a 1 seed and then you go right into the SEC title game. That is crazy. Texas on the 11th, then Auburn. Whew. Sammy D's, man, hitting them with the tacos. Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee. How many games is this? Let's see. After Texas, let's just see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, what do you think they go in this stretch? Does this team win 7 games in a row? Eric D saying they'll be number 1 on 2 on Saturday if they both win this week, Kyle, and they'll both be number 2 next Monday after that game. Yeah, 1 and 2. What do you think they go in this stretch? 7 games. Do they win 7 in a row? That would be crazy. Let's see. Road games. Missouri, I guess Missouri will be tough. Tennessee, that Tennessee one. Florida coming to town. Oh, man. Right? 6 and 2 will be fine. I don't know. Hell of a stretch, though. That's a tougher stretch than football. Hell yeah, it is. That Mississippi State team is good. At Tennessee, man. 6 and 1, drop 1 game. I don't know. We'll see. Well, the rankings come out, I think, later today. So, kind of getting back to the meat of the show, though, is your Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts, and talking about kind of the mentality overall of Jalen Hurts. And it's good to see him win a Super Bowl. Anytime you have, former players that played at Alabama, playing at this level, is fun to watch. That was the biggest highlight of the night. Did anyone watch? What did you guys think of the Super Bowl? Look, I like Kendrick Lamar. His new album, I like it from a music perspective. I get all that stuff with Drake. That's a little too much for me. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. But there's always feedback on the halftime show. I didn't really like the halftime show, and I like Kendrick Lamar. And then I guess the best commercial that people were talking about was the Jeep commercial with Harrison Ford. It was super. It was a super American themed. I think Dodge did that a couple years ago, which was good. Those are always fun to watch. I didn't really see any commercials that really jumped out. I think the funniest thing to me was, did you see that rolling on down the river was Chester the Cheeto? He had this. There was the SS Cheeto. Did you see this? Eric D loved the halftime show. That's what's up. I don't know. For whatever reason, I didn't really like the halftime show. I'm not sure why. And like I said, I do like Kendrick Lamar, so I don't know. Visually, I'm not sure what it was. But Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champ. Same thing with DeVonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, and several other Alabama football players that played here and really set the standard. And I hope that kind of mentality can kind of sink into this current roster and see how these guys can turn up for year 2 under Coach Kalen DeBoer. I'm feeling, when I look overall to Alabama football, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic about this team going into the future. Rusty, I don't know when you joined, man, but we were talking about that. I think we named the movie Winning Hurts. Was it Max that came up with that? Or was it Sammy? Who came up with that, winning Hurts? And if that type of mentality can seep back within this team, and if these guys really are kind of locking in, like Rock Montgomery said, then let's face it, there's enough talent on this team for these guys to make a real run. Yeah, the schedule is more challenging, year 2 under Coach Kalen DeBoer, but you do have a lot of really good elements coming back for Alabama on each side of the ball. And the coaches, there's a lot of coaching continuity as well, right? You added in Ryan Grubb, which I think elevates your coaching staff, and I think you lose Colin Hitchler, which wasn't that big of a loss. I guess the other thing that I guess now my focuses are, and what I'm watching for spring is like the specialists and the right tackle position. But everything else seems really good for Alabama football. Plus, from the recruiting standpoint and the brand standpoint, I think they're getting close to landing a couple guys from 2026. And kind of my thought process about covering 2026 guys is like when these guys commit, I then want to talk about them. But it's hard because not – in this world of like NIL and like pay me now and like decommitting and recommitting, the news doesn't really stay for long. You see what I'm saying? Because all these guys can just like commit. And what it does, and I continue to believe this, when they commit to Alabama, it certainly just elevates their overall platform for those guys to get even more notoriety. And they use kind of Alabama as a landing platform to jumpstart even a higher portion of their back end of recruiting. David's waiting for Jalen Hurts versus Tua. Man, the Dolphins are loading up. A lot of it just comes down to like straight up, does Tua have enough health to get to that, to survive a whole season? All right, fam. Well, Samuel's like, these ain't loyal. I'm serious, man. And Jarvis, I've said that, man. That's why, like, I feel recruiting has certainly changed, and these guys have started to understand, hey, go visit Alabama. And as soon as you even went to Alabama Junior Day, boom, your recruiting stock goes up. Just watch. It'll happen. Oh, was that Alex Wilder that came up with winning Hurts? All right, Alex, we'll give him his props. Thanks, Rocket Time. All right, fam. Well, that's my Monday show. As news happens, I got you covered here on Bama Football on YouTube. I think going forward this coming week, we'll start to kind of dive into positional previews and start to ask questions about each position going forward and what we're looking forward to and kind of the overall strengths of each position going into spring football. So remember, now on Patreon, so there's a pin link that explains our Patreon page. And I would appreciate your guys' continued support, whether you're a fan, funder, subscriber, whatever. I appreciate it. Let's see what Darren has to say inside the comment box. We need to get the running back from Jackson who reclassified. Yeah, Xavier Crowell. That guy is unbelievable. So he's a 2026 prospect now. He was supposed to be in class of 2027. He reclassified. He's out of Jackson, an in-state guy. I think he's taking an official to Alabama. He's taking his last official to Alabama later in the summertime. Yeah, this is a guy you absolutely have to close on, and I think Alabama fans want to see Coach Kalen DeBoer really work the in-state portion as much as he can and as much as it makes sense for his roster. That was something that Alabama fans definitely didn't question, was how important is recruiting the state of Alabama. I mean, you didn't get any top 10 guys. It doesn't say that that's not a focus. I mean, Courtney Morgan has said many different times that you want to recruit guys that make sense for your program, for your organization. But with a guy like Xavier Crowell, that guy, the running back, is absolutely phenomenal. Then you look at Alabama's running back room and you're like, damn, like that running back room is solid, but you lose what? You're going to lose Jam Miller. Probably, I guess, Draylen Washington. I don't know if he's a senior or not. You'll need another running back. J-Bait, Kyle, is Aaron Rodgers donezo? Yeah, I would think that Aaron Rodgers is done. I saw that the Eagles or the Jets are moving on from him, as well as Devontae Adams, right? I mean, those guys are getting a little bit up in their career. But I think Aaron Rodgers is probably time for him to move on. He'll probably have a crazy-ass podcast or something like that. He has some wild, wild takes. I had him as my fantasy football quarterback this last year. he actually didn't do terrible. It was a flex league, so you could play 2 quarterbacks. He didn't do terrible. He had some games where he kind of pop off a little bit. All right, fam. Well, thanks for watching my show on Monday. Remember, these are available later on in iTunes, Spotify. I think it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify. So check them out, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Monday show. Jalen Hurts and many others are now Super Bowl champs. Love to see it. I appreciate you guys' continued support. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Anderson and Bama Football on YouTube. Love you guys. Ephraim, thanks for the 50 spot, man. I really, really appreciate it. Talk to you guys on my next show or as news happens right here on